Captain Marcus Reed stepped off the transport shuttle onto Kepler Station with measured confidence. Behind him, a small procession of humans carried carefully sealed environmental containers. The neutral trading hub buzzed with activity as dozens of alien species conducted business in the vast docking bays. "Stay close, Rex," Marcus said quietly to the German shepherd walking beside him. The dog's ears were alert, taking in the strange scents and sounds of this new environment. The human delegation had come to Kepler Station for their first formal introduction to the Galactic Trade Coalition. After decades of space travel, humanity had finally developed faster-than-light technology and discovered they weren't alone. This meeting would determine their place in the cosmic community. Ambassador Elena Vasquez adjusted her diplomatic sash and nodded to Marcus. "Remember, we're here to show them who we are. Our culture, our values, our potential as allies. And our companions," Marcus added, gesturing to Rex and the other containers holding various Earth animals. "They're part of our story." The main conference chamber was a marvel of alien architecture. Crystalline walls stretched high above, and the air shimmered with translation fields. Representatives from 12 different species sat around a circular platform, each in their designated atmospheric zones. The Vorthek delegation drew immediate attention. Standing nearly 8 feet tall with chitinous exoskeletons and 4 arms, ending in razor-sharp claws, they embodied predatory menace. Their leader, War Commander Thax, had scars crisscrossing his armored face. "So these are the new arrivals," Thax rumbled through the translator, his eyes fixed on Rex, who had remained perfectly calm despite the alien presence. "Humans, and they bring pets?" Several alien representatives clicked or whistled what the translators rendered as amusement. The insectoid Zephyrian's antennae twitched with what appeared to be mirth. Ambassador Vasquez stepped forward. "We bring representatives of Earth's biodiversity. These animals are our companions, partners in building our civilization." "Companions?" Thax's mandibles spread in what might have been a grin. "Warriors keep weapons, hunters keep tools, you keep pets. How wonderfully soft." The aquatic delegates from Hydros Prime made gurgling sounds of agreement. Even the usually neutral crystalline envoys seemed to pulse with subdued mockery. Marcus felt Rex tense slightly beside him, but the dog maintained perfect discipline. "These animals chose to work with us over thousands of years. We didn't conquer them, we partnered with them." "Chose?" Thax stood to his full imposing height. "Apex predators don't form partnerships, they dominate. They rule, they conquer." He gestured dismissively at Rex. "That creature follows you because you feed it scraps. It's dependency, not partnership." The chamber filled with various alien sounds of approval. Marcus noticed how quickly the other species aligned themselves with the Vorthek perspective. Fear or respect, he couldn't tell which motivated them. "Perhaps," Elena interjected diplomatically, "we can demonstrate the depth of these relationships during our cultural exchange period." "By all means," Thax said, settling back into his chair. "Show us how your pets will help you in the galaxy. Show us how feeding strays prepares you for the realities of interstellar politics." The session continued for several hours, but the tone had been set. Every human contribution was met with subtle condescension. Every mention of their animal companions brought barely concealed ridicule. Every great journey starts with a few brave explorers. Sci-fi stellar conflict is just beginning, and your support means everything. If you're hungry for HFY battles and tales of human valor against alien might, hit subscribe. It's free, and it helps us bring these frontlines to you. As the formal meeting concluded, Marcus overheard fragments of conversation between alien delegates. The universal theme was clear: humans were weak. Their attachment to animals was seen as a fatal flaw that would make them easy targets in the harsh realities of galactic politics. But Marcus noticed something the aliens missed. Rex wasn't just sitting obediently, he was watching, learning, cataloging scents, sounds, and behaviors with the focused intensity of a predator assessing potential threats. Walking back to their quarters, Elena shook her head. "They see compassion as weakness." "Let them," Marcus replied, scratching Rex behind the ears. The dog's tail wagged once, but his eyes remained alert, scanning the corridor ahead. "They're about to learn why humans and wolves conquered a planet. together, and why we've never stopped hunting as a pack. The station's artificial night cycle began, casting long shadows through the corridors. In those shadows, Rex's eyes gleamed with an ancient intelligence that the galaxy had never encountered before. The aliens had made their first mistake. They assumed domestication meant submission. They would soon learn that some partnerships were forged in fire and blood, and those bonds only grew stronger under pressure. 3 weeks after the initial meeting, tensions at Kepler Station had escalated beyond diplomatic niceties. The Vorthek delegation had grown increasingly aggressive, making territorial demands and challenging human claims to recently surveyed systems. War Commander Thax paced the conference chamber like a caged predator. The Centauri sector belongs to the strong humans. Your survey probes mean nothing without the military power to enforce claims. Captain Reed maintained his calm demeanor, but Rex had begun displaying subtle signs of alertness that Marcus recognized. The dog's ears were constantly pricked, his nostrils flaring as he processed the increasing aggression in the room. Our colonies in that sector are already established, Alina responded firmly. 3 worlds with civilian populations totaling over 50,000 souls. We're not abandoning them. Souls? Thax's laughter was a harsh clicking sound. You count weakness in numbers. We count strength and conquest. His forearms spread wide, claws extending. Your soft colonies will fall within cycles once we decide to expand in that direction. The other alien delegates watched this exchange with varying degrees of interest. The crystalline envoys pulsed with nervous energy, while the Hygros Prime representatives remained unnaturally still in their aquatic chambers. Marcus stepped forward. Are you threatening human civilians, War Commander? I'm stating facts, Thax replied. His primary eyes fixed on Marcus while his secondary eyes tracked Rex's position. Your species lacks the warrior spirit necessary for galactic survival. You keep pets instead of breeding soldiers. Rex's lip curled slightly, exposing the edge of a canine tooth. The movement was subtle, lasting less than a second, but Thax noticed. Even now, your domesticated scavenger shows aggression it cannot. Back up, Thax continued. Like its masters, it makes threats without understanding consequences. Rex isn't making threats, Marcus said quietly. He's making assessments. The War Commander's mandibles spread in amusement. Assessment? Of me? Tell me, human, what does your pet assess? Marcus looked down at Rex, who met his gaze briefly before returning attention to Thax. The communication between them was wordless, instantaneous, and completely lost on the alien observers. He assesses you as a threat to his pack, Marcus replied. And Rex has never encountered a threat he couldn't handle. This brought fresh waves of clicking laughter from the Vorthek delegation. Several other alien species joined in with their own versions of amusement. Your pack? Thax leaned forward. You mean the few dozen humans on this station? Or perhaps the scattered colonies you're so desperate to protect? I mean humanity, Marcus said. All of us, and all of our allies. Allies like this creature? Thax gestured dismissively at Rex. A single warrior of the Vorthek Empire could eliminate 100 such beasts without effort. Elena tried to steer the conversation back to diplomacy. War Commander, surely we can find common ground without resorting to hypothetical combat scenarios. Nothing hypothetical about it, Thax replied, his scarred face turning toward Elena. The Vorthek Empire has decided to expand our borders. The Centauri sector offers valuable resources and strategic positioning. Your presence there is not inconvenient. The chamber fell silent except for the hum of environmental systems. The threat was now explicit, delivered in front of witnesses from across the galaxy. Marcus felt the shift in atmosphere like a physical weight. Around the chamber, other delegates were calculating risk and reward, wondering if humans would fold under pressure or resist. How long? Marcus asked simply. How long what? Thax replied. How long before you move against our colonies? Thax's scarred face showed what might have been satisfaction. Diplomatic protocols require we provide advance notice of territorial adjustments. Consider this your notice. 30 cycles. 30 days, Elena translated quietly. Rex stood up beside Marcus, not in aggression but in alertness. His movement was fluid, controlled, and somehow conveyed more menace than all of Thax's posturing. 30 days to evacuate? Marcus asked. 30 days to surrender, Thax corrected. Evacuation implies you have somewhere to go. The galaxy is large humans, but not large enough to hide from the Vorthic Empire. The meeting dissolved into formal protocols and diplomatic procedures, but the real business had been concluded. War was coming to the Centauri sector. As the human delegation prepared to leave, Thax called out one final comment. Bring more pets to your colonies, humans. Perhaps they can comfort your civilians as they watch their worlds burn. Walking through the station corridors afterward, Elena was quiet until they reached their secure quarters. Marcus, they're not bluffing. The Vorthek have conquered 17 systems in the past decade. I know, Marcus replied, unsealing his communication equipment. And their military technology is centuries ahead of ours in some areas. I know that too. Elena paused. Then why do you seem so calm? Marcus looked down at Rex, who had settled beside his chair but remained alert. Because they made the same mistake every predator makes when they encounter something new. He began composing a priority message to Earth Command. They assumed. We're prey. The message was brief but comprehensive. Vorthic Empire declares war on human colonies. Timeline 30 days. Recommend immediate deployment of special operations units. Include all available canine, lupine, and avian assets. They want to see what humanity learned from our pets. Let's show them. As the message transmitted across space toward Earth, Rex's ears pricked up at some sound too subtle for human detection. His tail didn't wag, but his eyes held something that looked remarkably like anticipation. New Haven Colony sprawled across a verdant valley on Kepler Prime, its domed habitats connected by covered walkways that gleamed in the alien sun's light. 53,000 colonists had built their lives here over the past 8 years, transforming raw wilderness into thriving communities. They had 26 hours left before the Vorthek deadline expired. Colonel Sarah Mills watched the sensor displays from New Haven's command center. Vorthik fleet dropped out of hyperspace 4 hours ago. 47 vessels, including 3 dreadnoughts. Major Tom Bradley nodded grimly. Our defense fleet? 12 frigates and the heavy cruiser Defiant. We're outnumbered 4-1. Sarah's fingers drummed against the console. But they don't know about our ground assets yet. In the past 3 weeks, 17 transport ships had arrived from Earth carrying unusual cargo. Official manifests listed agricultural specialists and equipment. But the reality was far different. Lieutenant Kate Morrison approached with her report. All K9 units are in position. 64 military working dogs distributed across our defensive perimeters. Volf teams are deployed in the northern mountains. Avian reconnaissance is active. And the civilian animals? Sarah asked. Every pet owner who volunteered has been integrated into our early warning network. We have eyes and noses everywhere, Colonel. The Vorthek had made a fundamental error in their intelligence gathering. They had observed human colonies during peaceful times, cataloging defensive installations and military hardware. But they had dismissed the thousands of animals living alongside humans as irrelevant. They were about to learn why that was a mistake. The first Vorthik dropships descended through New Haven's atmosphere like falling stars. War Commander Thax led the assault personally, his scarred face visible through the command ship's viewports. Initial sweep confirms human defensive positions, his tactical officer reported. Conventional barriers and weapon emplacements. Nothing unexpected. Deploy shock troops to grid sections Alpha through Delta, Thax ordered. Civilian areas are secondary targets. Destroy their military capacity first. The Vorthik shock troopers were genetically engineered for warfare. Standing 7 feet tall with natural armor plating and 4 arms ending in molecular blade claws, they had never encountered effective resistance from soft species. The first wave landed in the industrial sector, expecting to face human soldiers. With primitive projectile weapons and basic energy shields. Instead, they found something unprecedented. Lieutenant Jake Peterson crouched behind a fabrication unit with his partner, Atlas, a German shepherd whose lineage traced back to military. Working dogs on Earth. Atlas search. The dog's powerful nose immediately detected what human sensors missed. Vorthik shock troops, moving through the facility's ventilation system. Atlas's low growl and directional stance told Jake everything he needed to know. Enemy movement, northeast. Ventilation shaft, Jake whispered into his comm unit. Atlas has sent lock. Across the facility, similar partnerships were providing intelligence that no electronic system could match. Dogs could detect alien pheromones through atmospheric filters. Their hearing picked up Vorthak communication frequencies that human ears missed entirely. When the first wave of alien shock troops emerged from their concealed positions, they expected surprise attacks against unaware defenders. Instead, they found humans already in position. Weapons trained on their exact locations. The battle that followed shattered every assumption the Vorthak had made about human warfare. Sergeant Maria Gonzalez and her partner, Ranger, a wolf-dog hybrid from the Alaskan breeding programs, moved through the maintenance tunnels beneath the colony. Ranger's nose guided them directly to a Vorthak infiltration team attempting to sabotage the power grid. "Contact, sublevel 3, Maria reported, her voice steady despite the adrenaline. Rangers. Tracking 6 hostiles moving toward primary generators. The engagement lasted less than 3 minutes. Human weapons might have been primitive by galactic standards, but they were devastatingly effective when guided by senses that could track enemies through solid matter. Above ground, the Vorthak assault teams found themselves under attack from directions they hadn't even considered. Military working dogs flanked their positions while human soldiers provided covering fire. The coordination was seamless, as if human and canine minds shared a single tactical consciousness. War Commander Thax watched the initial reports with growing confusion. How are they detecting our stealth units? Their sensors should be useless against our camouflage systems. Unknown, War Commander, his tactical officer replied. Human response time suggests they're receiving intelligence from unidentified sources. Through his command ship's viewports, Thax could see the battle unfolding below. What should have been a straightforward conquest was turning into a grinding engagement, where human forces seemed to anticipate every Vorthak movement. Deploy the second wave, Thax ordered. Full assault formation. Whatever advantage they think they have, will overwhelm it with superior numbers. But as more dropships descended toward New Haven's surface, something else was happening in the Fazindi colony's surrounding wilderness. In the mountains and forests beyond human settlements, other partnerships were stirring. Captain Alex Chun led his Wolf pack through terrain that would challenge even Vorthak shock troops. The 5 wolves weren't pets or even traditional military assets. They were full partners, bred and trained for exactly this kind of warfare. Luna's picked up something, Alex reported, watching the lead Wolf's alert posture. Large formation. Moving through Sector 7. The wolves could track Vorthak forces across miles of wilderness, their ancient hunting instincts perfectly adapted to this new kind of prey. They moved like shadows between the trees, providing intelligence and preparing ambush that would soon teach the Vorthak why humans had never stopped hunting as a pack. As the second wave of alien forces descended toward the colony, they had no idea they were walking into a trap that had been 40,000 years in the making. The Vorthak second wave landed in perfect formation, their dropships disgorging elite assault units across New Haven's outer perimeter. War Commander Thax had committed 800 of his finest shock troops to crush human resistance once, and, for all, they lasted exactly 17 minutes before calling for emergency reinforcement. Captain Alex Chen watched from a rocky outcropping as his Wolf pack circled the alien landing zone. Luna, the lead female, had her ears pricked forward, tracking multiple scent trails with predatory focus. Ghost, Phantom, Shadow, Alex whispered, naming each Wolf in turn. Vorthak Patrol, northwest approach. Luna, you and Steel take the flanking. Position. The wolves moved like flowing water, each understanding their role in the hunt. This wasn't mere training, it was evolution in action. 40,000 years of partnership had created something the galaxy had never seen before. In the urban sectors, the human-dog partnerships were proving equally devastating. Master Sergeant David Kim and his Belgian Malinois, Titan, had eliminated 3 Vorthak infiltration teams in the past hour. Titans got movement in Building 47, David reported through his comm. Upper floors, possibly 6 hostiles. The dog's enhanced senses could track alien heat signatures through concrete and steel. His nose distinguished between Vorthok combat armor and human clothing with perfect accuracy. When the aliens emerged from their concealment, they found humans waiting with precise knowledge of their positions, numbers, and approach routes. How is this possible? Sub-Commander Vex snarled into his communicator. His assault team had been reduced from 12 warriors to 3 in less than 20 minutes. They're predicting our movements like they can see through walls. What Vex couldn't understand was that humans weren't predicting anything. They were simply listening to their partners who could smell fear, hear heartbeats, and track thermal signatures through senses that evolution had perfected over millions of years. High above the battlefield, Lieutenant Amy Foster guided her. Harris Hawks threw aerial reconnaissance that put Vorthok surveillance drones to shame. The bird's natural hunting abilities, enhanced by tactical communication systems, created an intelligence network that covered hundreds of square miles. Red Tail reports armor column moving through canyon approach, Amy transmitted. Estimated. Strength 50 vehicles plus infantry support. The Hawks could distinguish between different types of alien technology by heat signature alone. Their eyes, capable of detecting minute movements from miles away, turned the entire battlefield into a comprehensive map of enemy positions. War Commander Thax watched his tactical displays with growing alarm. Our forces are being systematically eliminated by enemies they cannot locate. Request explanation. His intelligence officer's mandibles clicked nervously. Sir, preliminary analysis suggests humans are receiving real-time battlefield intelligence from unknown sources. Our stealth technology appears to be completely ineffective. Through the command ship's viewports, Thax could see the impossible. His genetically engineered shock troops, bred for absolute military superiority, being outmaneuvered by species he had dismissed as soft and weak. In the mountains surrounding New Haven, the largest shock of all was unfolding. Captain Chun's Volf pack had grown into a coordinated force of 30 animals working with human special forces units. The wolves could track Vorthok forces across terrain that would challenge their most advanced sensors. When alien patrols attempted to establish staging areas in the wilderness, they found themselves surrounded by predators that moved like ghosts between the trees. Contact lost with Reconnaissance Team 7, a Vorthok communications officer reported. Their last transmission indicated possible hostile contact in Sector 12. What the officer couldn't report was that the team hadn't just lost contact. They had been systematically eliminated by hunters that could track them by scent alone, approach in complete silence, and coordinate attacks with their human partners. Through signals that required no technology whatsoever, Sergeant Lisa Park crouched beside her partner, a massive timber wolf named Thunder. The wolf's low growl indicated enemy presence ahead, but his relaxed posture suggested they were unaware of being tracked. Thunder's got 8 hostiles in the clearing ahead, Lisa whispered into her throat mic. They're setting up some kind of equipment. Around the clearing, 5 other human wolf teams moved into position. The coordination required no radio communication, just the ancient understanding between pack hunters who had learned to kill together. When they struck, the Vorthok assault team didn't have time to send a distress signal. Back at his command post, War Commander Thax was receiving reports that challenged everything he understood about warfare. His shock troops, genetically superior warriors who had conquered 17 worlds, were being systematically destroyed by enemies they couldn't detect. Sir, his tactical officer reported, his voice tight with disbelief, we've lost 60% of our ground forces. The humans are not fighting like any species in our database. Explain, Thax demanded. They appear to be coordinating with indigenous wildlife. Our sensors detect massive movement patterns among local animal populations, all centered around human defensive positions. Thax's scarred face contorted with rage. You're telling me we're being defeated by pets? Sir, respectfully, these are not pets. Analysis indicates a level of tactical coordination between humans and various animal species that suggests. Suggests what? The officer's mandibles clicked uncertainly. Sir, it suggests that humans didn't domesticate these creatures. They formed military alliances with them. Through his viewports, Thax could see the truth of that statement playing out across the battlefield. This wasn't domestication or training, this was partnership between apex predators who had learned to hunt together across evolutionary time. The Vorthak Empire had spent centuries conquering civilizations through superior technology and genetic enhancement. But they had never encountered a species that had spent 40,000 years perfecting the art of coordinated hunting with the deadliest natural predators on their homeworld. As his forces continued to fall to enemies they couldn't detect, track, or understand, War Commander Thax realized that humanity's greatest weapon wasn't their technology or their military tactics. It was the fact that they had never stopped being part of the pack. War Commander Thax stood in his command chamber, watching his invasion force collapse in real time. The tactical displays showed a nightmare scenario: scattered red markers indicating lost units, communication dead zones where entire battalions had simply vanished, and movement patterns that made no sense according to any known military doctrine. "Recall all ground forces," he ordered, his voice tight with barely controlled fury. "Prepare for orbital bombardment." "Sir," his tactical officer replied nervously. "Orbital strikes would violate 17 different galactic treaties." "The Trade Coalition would. The Coalition can protest from the ashes of their precious neutrality," Thax snarled. "If we cannot conquer these humans conventionally, we will burn their colonies from space." But even as he spoke, new alerts were flashing across his displays. The human defense fleet, previously dismissed as insignificant, was moving into aggressive positions around the Vorthak formation. Captain Marcus Reed stood on the bridge of the heavy cruiser Defiant, Rex at his side. The German shepherd was calm but alert, somehow sensing the importance of this moment, even in the vacuum of space. "Status report," Marcus requested. "Vorthak ground forces are in full retreat," his tactical officer reported. "Colonel Mills reports 90% casualty rates among enemy assault units. Our losses are minimal. And their fleet? 47 vessels holding position in high orbit. Sensors indicate they're charging weapons for planetary bombardment." Marcus nodded grimly. The Vorthak were preparing to destroy New Haven from space rather than admit defeat on the ground. It was exactly what Human Command had anticipated. "Signal all ships," Marcus ordered. "Execute Operation Pack Hunter." Across the human fleet, hatches opened on vessels that the Vorthak had cataloged as simple defensive frigates. What emerged were not additional weapons or shield generators, but something the alien invaders had never encountered in space: warfare, deployment pods carrying hundreds of specially trained animals. The Harris Hawks, released into zero gravity with magnetic tracking systems, became living guided missiles that could navigate between enemy ships with predatory precision. Their natural hunting instincts, enhanced by technological interfaces, turned them into the galaxy's most effective reconnaissance and sabotage units. Military working dogs in specially designed spacesuits provided security for human boarding actions, their enhanced senses detecting alien life signs through starship bulkheads. Wolves in environmental gear moved through captured enemy vessels, like shadows hunting down Vorthak crew members with ruthless efficiency. But the most devastating surprise came from an unexpected source. Dr. Jennifer Walsh had spent 3 weeks training a special unit that no one, not even Human Command, fully understood until this moment. Her team consisted of 12 bottlenose dolphins in specialized aquatic combat suits, their sonar abilities enhanced by quantum resonance fields. "Dolphin Squadron reporting ready for deployment," she announced from the aquatic support vessel Cousteau. The Dolphin's natural echolocation, amplified by human technology, could map the internal structure of enemy starships with unprecedented accuracy. They could detect hull weaknesses, locate critical systems, and coordinate attacks with precision that no artificial intelligence could match. When the Dolphin-guided torpedoes struck Vorthak command vessels, they bypassed all defensive systems and struck critical points with surgical precision. War Commander Thax watched in disbelief as his supposedly superior fleet began falling apart. Around him, what are they using? "Our sensors detect no advanced targeting systems, no sophisticated guidance computers." "Sir," his intelligence officer reported, his voice hollow with shock, "the humans appear to be using biological targeting systems. Living creatures are guiding their weapons." "Living creatures?" Thax repeated. "In space?" The answer became clear as his flagship's hull was breached by a coordinated strike from 3 different attack vectors. Through the emergency bulkheads, Thax could hear something impossible, the sound of hunting animals moving through his ship's corridors. Human boarding parties, accompanied by their animal partners, were systematically capturing key systems throughout the Vorthek fleet. Dogs detected alien crew members hiding in sealed compartments. Wolves tracked fleeing officers through maintenance shafts. Even in the vacuum of space, the ancient partnership between humans and animals was proving unstoppable. All vessels. Thax transmitted desperately. Retreat to minimum safe distance. Prepare for hyperspace jump. But it was too late. The human fleet had anticipated this as well. Coordinated strikes from animal-guided weapons had disabled the hyperspace generators on half the Vorthak vessels, trapping them in a system where every natural instinct was working against them. As his remaining ships fled toward the edge of the system, Thax sent one final transmission toward human forces. This is not over. The Vorthek Empire does not forget defeat. Captain Reed received the transmission on the Defiance Bridge. Rex looked up at him with intelligent eyes, as if asking whether they should pursue the retreating aliens. "Let them go," Marcus said, scratching behind the dog's ears. "They need to report what they've learned here." Over the following hours, as New Haven celebrated its victory, news of the battle spread throughout the galactic community. The species that had dismissed humans as pet-keeping primitives watched in stunned silence as the combat recordings circulated through diplomatic channels. The crystalline envoys pulsed with newfound respect. The aquatic delegates from Hydros Prime made sounds that translators rendered as amazement. Even the usually arrogant Zephyrians admitted they had underestimated human capabilities. But the most significant response came from an unexpected source. The Kepler Station Communication Hub received a priority transmission from the Vorthek Home Fleet, bearing the personal seal of Supreme War Leader Korax himself. The Vorthek Empire formally recognizes human territorial claims in the Centauri sector. We propose immediate negotiations regarding mutual defense agreements and trade partnerships. Ambassador Elena Vasquez read the message aloud to Captain Reed as they prepared to depart New Haven. "They want to negotiate alliance terms." "Of course they do," Marcus replied, watching Rex play with a group of colony children in the victory celebration below. "They finally understand what we tried to tell them from the beginning, which is—" Marcus smiled as Rex bounded back to his side, tail wagging with simple joy despite having helped coordinate one of the most sophisticated military victories in galactic history. "We didn't domesticate our animals," he said, giving Rex a well-deserved treat. "We convinced them to domesticate us. And now the galaxy knows why that makes us the most dangerous species they've ever encountered." The victory at New Haven became legend throughout galactic space, not as the triumph of superior technology or military doctrine, but as proof that the most powerful force in the universe was partnership, the willing alliance between species that chose to hunt together rather than alone. Humanity had found its place in the galactic community, and it was exactly where they had always belonged, at the head of the pack.